respect those who have faced their own weaknesses and turned them into strength. Drenia. This is the story of Captain Lucas Drake, a career soldier who, after a near-death experience during a battle, undergoes a profound spiritual awakening. He begins to question the meaning of his duties, realizing that true service lies not in violence or power, in something more. Let's start the story. Captain Lucas Drake had always believed in duty. As a soldier, his life had been a constant march forward, one mission after the other, with no time for second-guessing. He'd risen through the ranks, always in control, always making the hard choices. The kind of leader people depended on. For them, he was a figure of power, someone who could shape the course of battle with a word or a glance. Deep down, beneath the medals, the uniforms, and the accolades, Lucas began to feel something he couldn't shake, a hollow emptiness no amount of victories could fill. The more battles he fought, the more people he lost, the more he began to wonder, what was all of this for? He sat alone in his tent one evening, his uniform dirty and blood-stained, staring at a photo of his wife and daughter. The hum of distant gunfire echoed in the night, a constant reminder that war never really ends. Lucas longed for peace, for a life beyond the violence, but every day felt like he was drowning in the weight of his responsibilities. Then it happened. The explosion came out of nowhere, rattling his world to pieces. A deafening roar filled the air, and Lucas was thrown to the ground. The world spun in slow motion, as if time itself had decided to freeze. Shrapnel sliced through the air, cutting into his flesh, and Lucas could feel his life slipping away. Pain was unbearable, but amidst the chaos, something strange happened. A quiet peace washed over him, and for a brief moment, everything stopped. In that stillness, a figure appeared. It was like nothing he had ever seen, an ethereal being glowing with an otherworldly light. It wasn't a man or a woman, but something both and neither. The figure spoke, not with words, but with thoughts that vibrated through Lucas's very soul. "You've served your duty," the figure's voice echoed, "but your true service lies elsewhere. You are more than this uniform, more than your ego. You are a vessel for something greater." Lucas wanted to speak, to ask questions, but his body was unresponsive. "Let go of your ego. To serve the world, you must first learn to listen." The vision faded, and Lucas's world snapped back into focus. The roar of battle returned, but something had changed within him. The world, once so chaotic, now seemed distant, almost surreal. As the days passed, Lucas struggled to understand what had happened. He was alive, but he wasn't the same. The things that once mattered, victories, power, control, now felt meaningless. He could no longer see his men as mere soldiers or his enemies as faceless threats. Each one of them, even the civilians caught in the crossfire, was human. They had lives, they had stories. The battles, it didn't feel right anymore. Every quiet moment, every breath, felt like a call to something greater. Lucas began to meditate in small moments between missions, trying to quiet the whirlwind of his thoughts. It was difficult at first, the screams of the fallen and the memories of the past gnawing at his mind. Slowly, something began to shift. He started to feel lighter, as though the burden of his uniform had lifted, if only for a moment. The more he meditated, the clearer the voice became. It was a voice that called not for power, but for peace. It was a voice that asked him to serve, not through violence, but through compassion. One day, Lucas received new orders, another mission, another target. This time, it was a leader of insurgents hiding in a nearby village. The orders were clear: eliminate the threat by any means necessary. Lucas stood in front of his team, feeling the weight of his new awareness. His men looked to him for direction, but he felt torn. Could he really lead them into battle again, knowing what he now knew? Could he take another life, knowing that there had to be another way? Lieutenant Turner, one of his most trusted officers, stepped forward. "Sir, we've got the intel. This is a clean strike." Lucas looked at the map in front of him, the lines and markers seeming so trivial now. His ego, the part of him that had once thrived on these moments, screamed at him to give the order. But his heart, the part of him that had been awakened, whispered a different truth. He couldn't do it anymore. Not like this. I don't know, Lucas muttered, his voice barely a whisper. I don't know anymore. Turner frowned, his confusion turning to frustration. Sir, do what we're trained to do. This is the job. Lucas felt the presence of the vision again, like a soft whisper in his ear. He wasn't just a soldier. He was a part of something bigger. He wasn't meant to be a tool of violence. The night before the mission, Lucas made his decision. It wasn't an easy choice. It wasn't the one his ego wanted him to make. It was the one his soul had been calling him toward. He gathered his men, all of them waiting for his command. Silence in the room was thick, almost suffocating. We're not going through with this mission, Lucas said, his voice steady but filled with resolve. We're going to find another way. There was a pause. Then Turner spoke up, his voice sharp. Sir, we have our orders. We can't just ignore them. Lucas stood tall, the weight of his decision heavy on his shoulders. The orders are wrong. We're more than soldiers. We're human beings. And we need to stop fighting this war, one life at a time. It wasn't an easy path. His decision wasn't popular, and it strained his relationship with command. Over the following weeks, something remarkable happened. His men, who had followed him for years because of his rank and reputation, began to follow him for something deeper. His compassion, his humanity. He saw that he was a leader who cared about them, not just as soldiers, but as people. And in that, Lucas found a new purpose, one grounded in peace, not violence. One where ego was no longer the guiding force, but love and understanding were. Lucas's journey wasn't over, but he had found something greater than any victory on the battlefield, a sense of peace, of true service. It wasn't about winning, it was about awakening.